positions. And on a G harp, that will be first position would be G on the G harp. I can play some first position blues licks for you, like. You know, that's first position. And you have the second position, which is the bread and butter of all harmonica players, and which, you know, most little Walter instrumentals, for example, a lot of them are in second position. Because I think second position got popular in the 30s because a lot of people listened to John Lee Williamson, which had Good Morning Little Schoolgirl and a lot of other hits on Bluebird. And he was a prominent second position player. And there's many reasons for that. But one reason I think is that he was influenced by the piano players he played with, which all they were influenced by this boogie woogie craze. And when you listen to a boogie woogie pattern, it's a lot easier to play that boogie woogie stuff in second position than in first position. You got like a song like the Honey Dripper, which is kind of like a train imitation, and at the same time it's a boogie woogie song. And I think this connection between train imitations, boogie woogie playing in the 30s, and Little Walter and others electric playing, so on, has kind of, you know, made second position this very central position to know when you use when you play blues harmonica. So example with I can use like a C harp, regular marine band for second position. You have like kind of Little Walter stuff where you play. You know, that kind of stuff, and which is so useful for most blues songs. And you know, every time you hear a shuffle, you crave, you know, playing those kind of licks. And you have the third position, which I think came up because a lot of players were influenced by chromatic players, and the chromatic harmonica is a later invention than the diatonic, and they listened to guys like Larry Adler playing Summertime, which was really popular back in, you know, 30s, 40s. Playing in third position, you're using the first hole in on the harp as the tonica. So you're using like a G harp, and then you play in A minor, so to speak. And people that like to use third position today is like Charlie Musselwhite. He plays third position a lot, and a lot of Little Walter stuff is also done in third position, because Walter also played a lot of chromatics, so kind of influenced his diatonic playing. And I like playing in third position, really. And I think it opens up a lot of possibilities if you're working on it. You have to try to be creative, because it's really easy when you play third position to end up with these kind of pet licks that because of you have to have some good pitch control on some of the holes on third position, which is really makes it difficult to play fluently over like 3 octaves. Listen to a guy like Paul Delay. You could play, you know, third position. It feels like the first time I heard them before the third position. I'm like, wow. And that's really difficult. But it's a very, you know, it's a very nice position to use, and it goes well for most kind of pentatonic blues-based songs. So I can play some third position for you. This is a marine band in the key of G, and this is in A minor, that would be. or something like that. Third position. Very useful to use, and it opens up a lot of possibilities. And as Russ wrote here, very William Clark, because William Clark was one of the pupils of George Smith, which was a master of the chromatic harmonica, and Clark played some amazing third position stuff. I think Blowing the Family Truth is one of my favorite third position instrumentals ever. So go out and listen to Stream William Clark. But there's two positions that I think are quite underestimated when it comes to trying to be creative or coming up with new stuff or playing blues licks in a new context. And one of them is actually so obvious that a lot of people don't think about it, and that's first position. Because when you play first position, most people use the top of their harp and the bottom of their harp, but they tend to stay away from the middle of the harp because you don't have any notes to fit in there when you're playing a traditional blues. But using overblow techniques, you can also integrate some of the middle of the harp too on up-tempo pieces and other stuff when playing first position. And some of the very, very creative harp players, I think, in the 30s are guys like Blues Birdhead and a guy called Rhythm Willie. And both of them played a lot very creative stuff in first position, very jazzy stuff, and they had like really nice first position lines that are very inspiring to listen to. And a lot of their playing kind of resonates more with a modern kind of overblow playing than the more bullet-based Chicago electric sound. So you should check out guys like Blues Birdhead and Rhythm Willie too. And some people in Chicago said that Rhythm Willie was the only cat Little Walter was really afraid of. I think that is just, a myth anyway, because they have so different styles. But Rhythm Willie actually got to record with recorded with a big band, with a famous big band leader. I can't remember his name right now, which Charlie Parker used to play in too. And the band leader used to be really picky on his musicians. So using Rhythm Willie as a musician says a lot about his qualities. But what Rhythm Willie and a lot of other first position harp players did is that he played a lot in the top octave, but he had these very nice transitions from the top octave down to the bottom octave. I can play, some example of that kind of way of playing first position harmonica. Let's take a guy like Rhythm Willie. Had a very, very nice vibrato too, which he put on all his ballads and everything. I think a contemporary player that had this kind of vibrato is a good friend of mine, Mitch Kashmar. If you listen to Mitch Kashmar, he has the same thing. The kind of very distinct vibrato playing first position. It's like. And you can hear that kind of vibrato is not a double throat vibrato, which most people, think of when I think of the good kind of vibrato, but it's a lip pursing vibrato where you go like kissing your mother-in-law or something like that, like, all the time. And it's very tiring on your lips after a whole night of gigging, but it's a very nice effect. And you can listen to a guy like Rhythm Willie has the best kind of vibrato in that way. And he can also play up-tempo stuff, where he could play kind of ragtime phrases like and so on. And there you can put in some overblows too, playing in that kind of style, and it kind of sounds in the pocket. It sounds idiomatically correct. You could play like and that ba 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 ba. It's an overblow on hole 5, and it kind of suits into the whole of playing, you know. Other first position players you should check out is all the old-timey players like Gwen Foster, which is one of Joe Felisko's biggest influences. And Gwen Foster was an old-timey player that used to play old-time country music, for lack of a better word. And he has this fantastic tongue tremolo thing that he does all the time. And it sounds like a bird or something when he's playing, actually. You should check him out. Gwen Foster, really incredible stuff. And I can play a little bit of instrumental piece by Gwen Foster called Wilkes County Blues, I think it's called, where he's kind of improvising, and you're not sure if it's blues or if it's old time. You know, I don't know what it is. And he's using all these kind of techniques that are really incredible, and it mostly stays on the top of his harp, but at the same time, he's using these warbles, these octaves, these split tongue things, and it's really amazing. And I think it resonates with a lot of contemporary techniques. So here's a little bit of Gwen Foster style. And so on. And it's a very nice thing because it's using this tremolo effect with his tongue, the same way that like a player like Little Walter would use in second position, where he's playing, which is kind of like the famous Little Walter tongue warble thing, where you use the tongue back and forth between the holes in between an octave. And if you're trying to emulate Little Walter, I think it's a very important sound to try to grasp. But anyway, when Foster is using the same kind of technique, but in first position, in the top octave of the harp, and he makes it sound really different, texturally speaking, but it's really resonant and it's fat and it's a beautiful thing. So you should check him out. And another position is 12th position, and it's been popular position among a lot of diatonic jazz harmonica players for the last 30 years. Among them, Howard Levy and a lot of Carlos Del Honco and so on, which is more position. It's also a position that a lot of not a lot, but some of the players before the war used to. I think Rhythm Willie also recorded in 12th position. And in 12th position, you have your bass and your tonica on the second hold bent a half step down. So a lot of the phrases and stuff that you can play this kind of ragtime swing songs, but in a chordal way, more in the way of the pre-war style. So like. Or, you know, stuff like that. And where you play this, you know, jazzy 12th position licks, but you still use octaves and use different textures, and you can put in warbles there, and it whole, you know, it resonates with the way of playing blues harmonica or pre-war blues harmonica at least. That doesn't sound thin, puckered, or overblown, so to speak. For my last 10 minutes, I was thinking about talking a little bit about different harmonica tunings. If you guys are okay with that. because I usually get, questions about, different tunings and what kind of tunings do you use, different tunings for playing blues that are not the standard Richter tuning. There's nothing wrong with playing blues on a standard harmonica. There's nothing wrong with playing traditional Chicago blues either. But, sometimes we need to play in different settings and we want to, challenge ourselves or come up with new stuff. And we use different positions and different tunings. And the tunings I use, I think I use like 10, 12 different tunings at least, but it depends on the session, the setting I'm playing in, and so on. I think one of the nicest tunings and the easiest tunings to start with, if you're not playing on a standard, if you want to try something else than a standard blues harmonica, is the natural minor tuning, which Lee Oscar released for the harmonica market many years ago. So a lot of you people probably heard about that or tried it. And the nice thing about the natural minor tuning is that you can play with almost the same kind of patterns than you use in a regular Richter tuned harmonica in second position. So it's a very easy transition to try to play in natural minor. So I think all of you should check that out, and you can use a lot of the same techniques that you use on the standard Richter harmonica playing blues. So I can play like a short snippet of a song called Coming Home Baby, which I heard with Lee Oscar, and I also heard it with Charlie Mike and a lot of other different players. And it goes like and so on. So you just check out the natural minor harmonica tuning, because it's easy to start with when you're used to playing on a standard Richter tuned harmonica in second position, and it gives you a lot of nice opportunities in natural minor. And you also have the harmonic minor, which is kind of like the evil cousin of the natural minor, because it's usually labeled as a tuning for Eastern European music, gypsy music, everything else than traditional blues. Blues too on a harmonic. The thing is that you have a minor chord when you blow out, like, but when you draw in, you have the bottom octave and you have a minor chord up in the second and third octave. So you can play, like, for example, tango blues stuff on this kind of harmonic minor harmonica, where you can transpose some of the ideas and licks that you used in first position on a regular Richter tuned harmonica on this harmonic minor. Stuff like so harmonic minor, very nice thing, and you can use all kind of first position licks transposed over to in a minor context from the regular harmonica. And if you like to play a third position, I would recommend tuning that Seidel harmonicas make, and it's called Easy Third, or Just Do It. I think it's a very funny name of a tuning, Just Do It. And it's Dorian minor tuning that you can use playing third position, where you can have, you can mostly use it for third position, and you have everything in octaves, unless for one note or something like that. So you can use it for a lot of third position chromatic stuff. And it gives you very nice full minor chords that you can put to use in everything from reggae to you know, minor kind of organ jazz stuff. So I'll play a little bit on a low E flat tuned Seidel 8047 tuned in easy third. It goes like. Very cool tuning, very easy to use, and if you can play in third position on a regular Richard tuned harmonica, you can pick up an easy third tuned harmonica and you can use it too. It's also very nice for reggae, actually. You can play like. So we can be used in a lot of different contexts. There's a question here from Ross saying, who played Coming Home Baby? You said Charlie Musselwhite, and who else? And I think Lee Oscar has a very nice version of Coming Home Baby, and I think it's one of his records that are only released in Korea or something like that. So it's quite hard to get a hold on, but if you do, you have to listen to it because his version is very good. He's playing it only with a upright bass and harmonic actually on that version. And for my taste, a lot of Lee's stuff are kind of in the very, you know, sentimental pop kind of way, and he's marvelous, inventive, fantastic player. But I really like him when he plays, you know, more low down and dirty blues, because he's really good at that too, in his own Lee Oscar way. Another tuning that I actually use quite a lot is the power bender tuning, which was invented by Brendan Power, which I guess a lot of you people have heard about, of course. Fabulous harmonica player, inventor, everything. And it's been on the market for, I think, 10 years now. And the power bender is tuned in a way that you can draw bend all the notes all the way from the bottom to the top. And it gives you some kind of strange seventh chord when you blow out, and you have like a major chord when you draw in. So it's kind of like having, like having the first octave on a standard Richard tuned harmonica repeating itself 2 times after. So you can't play blow bends, but you can use draw bends. It's nice to use for major kind of flavored songs like Ray Charles ballads or, you know, country ballads and stuff like that. If it's minor tuned, you can use it too, and you have to be really picky on some of your transitional notes so it doesn't sound out of tune. So I can just play out a little bit on the power bender to show you. So power bender, you should check out that tuning. Really good tuning, and you can also transpose a lot of your motifs and ideas from second position easily over to the power bender tuning. There's another question here. What would be a useful minor diatonic harp to play reggae? Or do you need a few as with blues? Well, if I'm going to play reggae, I think I would have some harps in natural minor tuning, and I think I will have some harps in the easy third tuning, and the rest I would go for melody maker harps or the standard Richard tuned harmonicas. I think I would switch between those. It depends because reggae could be minor, major, it can be different stuff. So. And in the end, because I think are you there still, Sam? Sam kind of froze up on me on my screen here.
Yeah,
here you're back. Hello, Sam.
Yeah.
do we have 2 minutes more, or we're off?
I'll just if there are any questions. I mean, there was one I've got, and it's sort of what I thought about Will Wild is when you use so many tunings. How do you keep track of that in your head when you're playing?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. I think as I told you, associate all the different tunings with different positions, and they have something in similar. So I think that's the way I keep track of them. Yeah. Actually. Yeah. So I always think in circle of fifths and so on, and different positions. And I started out as a piano player, and I think that helps me a lot too, to keep track of things. But in a live context, sometimes I really mess up because I picked the wrong harp. But good labeling is also a very good thing too. And I have the Will Wild tuning. I haven't tried that one yet, but I would love to try it. He's a very good harmonica player, by the way. And I saw he did a video with the Brendan Power here, where Brendan played in fifth position, which is a nice position in power bender tuning. And I think power bender is very good for fifth position. You get some really juicy notes there. The Paddy Richter tuning, I tried that one too, and I use that sometimes. Well, for Irish songs and songs like Red-Haired Boy and so on, where you need the flatted, I think it's a flatted seventh, and at the same time you have this, it goes songs that goes between major and minor in a way that a lot of Irish songs do. So I tried the Paddy Richter tuning. I don't use it a lot. I use it sometimes. But what I wanted to say last is that I would recommend everyone also to, play every day and keep your harp shops up and running by playing low-tuned harmonicas. Because if you play the low-tuned harmonicas, it's kind of like sucking a golf ball through a garden hose or something. It's really painful, but it gives you great muscles both in your lips and everywhere else, and it's really useful for getting a good tonality, I think. So I played a lot of low-tuned harmonicas to get better shops and play less, because they demand you to use not that much air. So what scales do you practice every day as a warm-up? I don't practice scales that much. I practice old-time songs, or I can play like an old-time fiddle number, because they're so difficult, a lot of them, and I have so difficult breathing patterns. I have to really use my mind, and some Irish stuff too, I can work on. So I don't practice scales that much, which I basically should, but I don't. And the melody maker is the Lee Oscar tuning. Yes, that's the one. And it's also a very handy tuning, and it's very handy for playing simple melodies, Christmas songs and everything else that someone invites you over and say, hey, you play harp, why don't you play a Christmas song? And you usually play in second position and you feel like a complete idiot. Then the melody maker is really handy. So you should check that one out too. I have one melody maker here, which is a marine band tuned as a melody maker. And where you have the whole five is tuned half step up. So you have this not flatted seventh, but regular seventh. So you can use it for ballads. You can use it for major stuff like that, like playing out What a Wonderful World or whatever. So very nice harp. And melody maker is also tuning where you usually play in second position. So it's I think Lee Oscar even labeled it in second position. So it's very useful. But as I was saying in the end, the low-tuned harmonicas, this is a Seidel 1847 low tone, which is low E. I think it's the lowest one they got. But I have a friend in Russia has a low. I think it's E flat or something, which is really low. But the nice thing about these harps too is that you can do a lot of intricate rhythmical stuff on them because they have so big reeds that they demand just the right kind of air pressure, and it gives you some time to switch around. So you can play stuff like. So check them out. That's about it, I think.
Yeah, sorry, there's just one last question there from Russ. How do you manage the whole through without an extra?
Without an extra long. I have an extra long, actually. I didn't tell you that. But no, the thing with the side low tuned harp is that they're valved. So you have a plastic valve, and it helps you to be able to bend almost a half note on a whole second. It's like. But it's painful, and if you use like the Thunderbird, which Honor makes, Joe Felisko has been one of the people behind. They don't have valves, so they're quite sometimes hard to bend on. But I prefer the sound without the valves. I don't like the valve sound that much. That's why I don't play chromatic that much either, or valved harmonicas at all, because I like the quality of the diatonic harmonica, which is just a free reed resonating, and that's it, you know. But you can also bend whole 3 on a Thunderbird in low B, that is. So, I use pucker for hitting those notes. Yeah.
Okay, well, should we wrap it up there?
Yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant, Richard. Thank you very much. I mean, I found the old time stuff particularly interesting, pre-war. I always assumed that second position was sort of popular, you know, turn of the 20th century. But
yeah,
so I have listened to a lot of the earlier stuff, and I didn't actually realize it was in first position. So I think that's a, you know, a good history lesson you've given us there. I love all the different tunings. You know, I've tried all different, and the low harmonicas as well. They're good fun to play with. But yeah, thank you very much for popping in. As with Ian as well. Thank you for giving up your time as well, Ian. Yeah, you're still with us.